Okay, we're all set?
I get a lot more no's these days than I did yesterday.
Ready?
Okay, we're all set. I hereby call the Thursday, February 13th meeting of the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency to order. That first item on the agenda, the public comment period. That period is set aside for anyone who wants to speak for or against any item or items on the agenda. I don't believe there's anyone here to speak for or against. We can move on to number 2 of the agenda. In that case, the minutes of the previous meeting of 1/9/20. Everyone has those before us.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second. Seconded by Ron. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Number 3 on the agenda, the budget report for the month of January 2020.
First report is the statement of net position. At the end of January, our total assets stand at 5.4 million, with 4.4 million of those assets in cash. Liabilities are at 94,500, leaving us with a fund balance of 5.3 million. There are no significant changes from the prior month. The next report is the statement of activity for the month of January. For the month of January, we have $12,000 in revenue. Sources of revenue this month were $2,000 in project fees and rental income. During January, our expenses were $202,000. The largest expense for the month was in promotion. 50,000 for CEG, 30,000 for Quaystar, 20,000 for Rensselaer County Regional Chamber of Commerce for events for the first half of 2020, and 12,500 for 2020 initiatives, also to Rensselaer County. Aside from that, there were nothing out of the ordinary for expenses. The month of January, we had a deficit of $190,000, due mostly to promotional expenses.
We also had the auditors come in and complete their field work, so the auditors are now completing the rest of the audit, so it'll be ready for March.
Any other questions, comments with regard to the budget report?
Make a motion to accept as presented.
Second by Michael. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Number 4 on the agenda, the report of the public hearing on the 3rd Street Ventures LLC project.
Unfortunately, no one appeared at the public hearing, so there was no comments and no one provided any written statements to us. So I have nothing to report other than the fact that we held it. We kept the meeting open for 30 minutes and then closed it. So it is what it is. I guess everyone's delighted with the project.
Next project. You got it?
No, this is 3rd Street, 19 3rd Street.
Oh. I gotta get my address right.
Any questions, comments? If not, is there a motion to accept the report of the public hearing?
So moved.
Cynthia, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Second.
Second.
None. Number 5 on the agenda, the resolution adopting the amended 2020 budget. Why do we amend the budget?
No, Aaron's here.
Why do we amend the budget? So,
Mary Ellen?
Yeah, what were the changes?
I'm looking at,
I'm sorry?
What were the changes from the
So,
budget?
why did we amend
Put it
it?
back in October.
This is not an amendment from October. This is a budget for our annual, for the comparison on the statement of activity. That's really all this is for. We're not amending the Paris report budget.
Say that again.
So this is the January through December budget,
Right.
right?
But we approved a budget back in October for the Paris report,
That
which
was
is
for
a
the Paris.
proposed budget at that point in time, which could be subject to amendments later on.
Okay, but we're not amending the Paris budget.
Okay.
This is the budget that we just do the comparative on these sheets.
right, for every month.
Oh, okay.
Right, so we're not amending the
What is it?
Paris budget.
So the word amended should be taken off, is that?
Right.
No.
We adopted the budget in October, but this is a different budget because in October, you didn't have the figures you needed to do the actual 2020 budget.
We had the last quarter that we still had.
So this is essentially updating from what you did in October to reflect what you're actually going to be spending and receiving in
So,
2020.
play on words, it would not be an amendment, it would be modification of the change in the budget. Yes?
I don't believe we're changing the Paris budget. The Paris budget gets amended in October only.
That's a standalone issue.
Correct.
Right,
This is an operating budget for us as a board.
going forward for
Paris
20.
is a separate
Right.
standalone issue.
So what this allows us to do is, we had the last quarter of expenses to then utilize that to forward project for 20.
So Marilyn, when you give your monthly reports, it will be against this
These
budget?
numbers, right.
Correct.
So that you, the
Correct.
board can know
And
whether,
if
where they
this
are with
is-
respect
And if
to.
this is any deviation from the Paris budget, in October, when you adopt the new one,
We
the other one
gets
gets amended.
amended. Right.
It's just the time frame that they want, the ABO.
The ABO wants it in
Paris budget.
October,
Right.
obviously, then we do it based on,
So basically, it's semantics.
yes.
Is there any
So
way
the question still be-
to, any way to put them in sync?
We have to
So we
approve
don't-
No, because the
versus
ABO
amended.
requires
I'm sorry.
We
the
have to
budget.
approve it versus amend it? Just a play on words of it.
So the amendment is it's not an amendment, it's for the 2020 budget. So the numbers that we used, if you look at what's in the packet, you'll see the 19 budget compared to the 20 budget. The 20 budget has changed based on the actuals from 19. So 19 actuals, I believe, do not get amended until this year, Harris-wise. That's in October.
We've never done that before, though.
Sure we have.
Yeah, Bob Hotz usually,
Bob Hotz.
usually handles all that, and we come in and do the cleanups.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? No. If not, is there a motion to accept the,
So move.
all those in favor?
I'll
You need a
make-
second, you need a
I'll
second.
Second, Cynthia, I saw you raise your hand. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay, number 6 on the agenda, a resolution approving the Third Street Ventures LLC project. And that was the same one that we just came to before the public hearing.
Right, this was the AI Center and Senior Center building.
This resolution authorizes a deviation from your uniform tax exemption policy and goes through all of the factors that you consider in order to determine whether to make a deviation. And so this is the same information that was provided to each of the taxing jurisdictions prior to the public hearing. And then the rest of the document, resolution is your standard straight lease transaction. We're authorizing the straight lease transaction, the pilot agreement, the project agreement, and standard financing if there would be financing involved in this. At this point, we're being told there is no outside third-party financing.
Okay. Any other questions, comments with regard to the approving resolutions? there a motion to put that on the floor?
So moved.
Seconded by
Mike.
Michael, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. There's number 7 on the agenda, the resolution authorizing increased financial assistance, extending agent appointment term and an amendment to the basic documents and modification agreement of 255 River Street project.
This is the Sam Judge project, and they've been a little delayed in their construction, so they've asked to to extend the sales tax exemption, and they've also asked for additional financial assistance in the form of additional sales tax exemption benefits and additional mortgage recording tax benefits. So the lease, or the resolution authorizes those benefits and also authorizes the execution of the documents that are required to effectuate the resolution.
And this is the third
What,
It is the third time.
what financial assistance are we increasing?
They're borrowing more money on the project based on.
Our money or outside?
No, outside
We're
money.
allowing them to borrow more money.
Right, that would be eligible for benefits, and what we're doing is, once that's final, and we're waiting for a cost-benefit analysis from Sam and his CFO. We'll base our fee, an additional fee, on that incremental change. I think it was 1.9 million?
Mhm.
I think it was 1.9 million bump up.
And an additional $63,000 worth of sales and use tax exemptions.
What building was that, Bob?
It's McCarthy Building,
On 255.
yeah.
That's up past Belknap, right?
No, it's right here, it's right around the
Right
corner
here?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the old,
CHP,
Just north of the old,
remember
City
CHP?
Hall.
CHP,
Okay.
yeah,
I thought the number one.
yeah. The views are spectacular up from the river.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah. He also indicated in his explanation to us why he was increasing it, the market is allowing him to raise his rents as well. So the project seems to be, at least he's very high on it.
Okay, we have that resolution on the floor. Is there,
You didn't read it. You gotta read it.
or is it
At the
this
bottom.
one here? Okay.
You heard that, didn't you?
I thought I read,
No, you read
read
the, you read the
that.
top part, you read the bottom.
So, we have the, excuse me, we have the, resolution authorizing the increased financial assistance, extending agent appointments, term, and amendment to the basic documents agreement and modification agreement 255 River Street project.
No, you get the bottom part.
Okay? Resolution authorizing the increased financial assistance, extending the term of appointment of 255 River Street LLC as agent and BBA as sub-agent of Windsor County Industrial Development Agency, and the execution of a certain third modification agreement and amended uniform project benefits agreement for the purpose of undertaking the completed 255 River Street LLC project and determining other matters in connection therewith.
Making to, motion to approve?
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Cynthia, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Okay. Number 8 on these. Excuse me. Oh, thank you. We have number 8 on the agenda, a resolution authorizing refinancing of the Eastwick Village project.
One in this clear?
This is the Summit at Eastwick project that was done a number of years ago. They're going back and refinancing their mortgage through HUD. There is no, the IDA is not a party to the mortgages. You're not extending the mortgage recording tax exemption, but they have asked the IDA to sign a subordination agreement, subordinating the leases to the mortgage. The original documents already had that language in there and committed you to signing a subordination agreement. So this is just documenting your approval of that subordination agreement.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Not. We have a resolution authorized. We have a resolution consenting to a certain mortgage and authorizing the execution by the Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency of a certain subordination agreement in connection with the Eastwick Village Associates LLC project.
So move.
Seconded by
Second?
Ron. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Moving on to number 9. On the agenda, amended approving resolution with regard to the Regeneron 2020 parking garage addition project.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The resolutions for 9, 10, and 11 are all involving the 3 Regeneron projects, and they're making technical changes in the documents regarding the jobs, both permanent and construction. If you look at the resolution for item 9, if you go to page A1, and you'll see that in the schedule in row number 2, there's a reference to 25 full-time equivalent jobs. When you look at the IDA application originally submitted by the applicant, there was an inconsistency in the application with respect to the number of permanent full-time jobs. What we're doing is making clear what the number of full-time permanent jobs are, and it is 25. The company is committing to that in the documents, and what we're basically doing is curing inconsistencies in the documents so that if this transaction is ever reviewed in the future, all of the documentation is consistent. So the only change in what was approved at a prior IDA meeting is finalizing and making clear the number of permanent full-time jobs to be created by the project. And with that, I'll open it up for any comments or
What was it
questions.
in the original agreement?
The inconsistency in the application was between, at one point, it discussed 25, and another point it discussed 30. And what we're doing is making clear that it's 25. That's the only change. It's an administrative act.
Any questions, comments on that? Is there a motion to put that on the floor?
You gotta read it.
Okay. We have a resolution amending a resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing the Execution of Documents in Connection with the leaseback transaction for the 2019 parking garage addition project for Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, Inc., presented, parentheses, the company.
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Seconded by Cynthia. All those in favor? Aye.
The next resolution, Chair, is similar, an administrative action by the IDA with respect to the office lab building for Regeneron. If you go to page A2 again, in this row, it's row 3, it describes the number of construction jobs. And frankly, this change is just making clear that the first year of construction jobs has dropped off in the IDA documents because the company has already started the project. So we're just making clear that they're not going to be responsible for creating construction jobs that they indicated they were going to create in 2019 because the project documents start in 2020. So again, it's just making sure that the documentation is clear with respect to what the requirements of the company are in connection with undertaking the project.
Any other questions, comments? If not, we have a resolution, amending a resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing the Execution of Documents in Connection with the leaseback transaction for the 2019 office building project for Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, Inc., parentheses, the company.
So moved.
Seconded by
Second.
Cynthia. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. On to 11 again, the general project,
Yep. Yep, thank you, Chair. It's the same resolution form, again, if you go to page A3, row 3, talking about the number of construction jobs. And again, what we're doing here is dropping off the construction jobs that were promised by the company for 2019, because we're in 2020, and the company did do that and has started the project. But we want to make clear in the documents on a going forward basis that they're responsible for 2020 only on a going forward basis. So again, an administrative action doesn't change the project, doesn't change the number of permanent full-time jobs or the size or benefits that the county is going to be receiving from undertaking the project. And with that, I'll open it up for any comments or questions.
Yeah. Any questions, comments? If not, we have a resolution amending a resolution entitled Resolution Authorizing Execution of Documents in Connection with the lease-leaseback transaction for the Temple Lane Office Parking Garage Project for Regeneron Pharmaceuticals Inc. Parentheses, the company.
So moved.
Second by
Second.
Ron. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Thank you.
12 on the agenda, resolution authorizing support for joint agency NICEAG effort developments innovation.
This is a project we've been working on for probably the last 6 or 7 months, where we're partnering with NICEAG, who we've been working with closely in the past on different projects, and Hudson Valley Community College and the Valley Cats. It's multi-phased. So initially we're looking to create experiential learning programs within Hudson Valley using emerging technologies. The Valley Cats have agreed to participate in that and be almost like the working lab for students. Hudson Valley is working on putting a program or curriculum together. NICEAG and the IDA are putting together a pitch deck to go out to solicit to the academic folks at Hudson Valley, and another pitch deck that would help New York State, because the ultimate goal is to twofold, is to get exposure for the state and looking to site a workforce development center, and to create a smart stadium for the Valley Cats. Valley Cats, the stadium itself is roughly 19 years old. No major upgrades have occurred since the beginning, so it's starting to get tired. So the fear is that without upgrades, you'll see a slow degradation of the product quality for fan experience. And so we think it's multi-tiered, using emerging technologies, integrating it with the Valley Cats and Hudson Valley students, with the expectation that we would be opening up to other students, SUNY Albany students, and creating a center that would attract students to come onto the campus. Because if you've noticed, the enrollment for community colleges, it's a dilemma statewide. Hudson Valley went from 15,000 students to 10,000 students in the last probably 5 or 6 years.
This would be construction of a new structure?
Well, Hudson Valley has a master plan where they're putting up a new structure. This would probably be a tenant within that structure itself to start. But the goal, like I said, it's a twofold goal. It's to get an upgrade of this stadium and create a smart stadium that would show fan experience and player development. And that we don't have insight into the technologies that are out there. We know a lot of them are out there. And then showing the state, when they're looking to site this the Workforce Development Center, that then, yes, we've already got a model in place, that would be a perfect setup for that. And the state may not have to invest as much money into a center. They announced one, I believe, in Syracuse. So.
Yeah, it seems, Bob, that announcement said there was one in Buffalo, one in Syracuse, they're looking to do 2 more. So that's something separate.
Right. They're looking to do one in the capital region. That I do know that they were looking for one in the
Which
capital
makes sense,
region.
and then maybe look downstate to cover the state.
Well, what you mentioned is a decline in the students coming to Hudson Valley.
Yes.
What happened there? What do they attribute it to?
Yeah, I haven't followed it super closely.
It's a pretty good.
It's a
pretty
statewide
good job.
dilemma. Yeah, it's a statewide dilemma. I mean, whether it's the economy, kids getting jobs right out of high school, or picking 4-year schools, because now in some areas it's easier for them to get the 4-year degree. I mean, Tom may have better insight because he's closer to the
Populations have changed in New York State, the demographics. as
demographics
well.
change. Yeah.
As well as there's other opportunities for education with online education. For example, New Hampshire Southwest University. Yeah, so it's a more competitive market and the population and demographics have shifted.
Is the school, trying to overcome that deficit and
Yeah.
student,
All of SUNY is addressing this. The whole State University of New York is, the chancellor has an initiative that NISTEC also has participated in trying to look at how online education can be utilized perhaps to attract students from outside of New York even. And Bob, I don't know how much you want to detail, but the president of Hudson Valley even made a trip with
The county
Steve
executive.
to Costa Rica, so lots of different ideas about how to try to increase the numbers.
They were they sat in this room, President of Hudson Valley and some of his staff, and we whiteboarded what they believed would be a great interaction to what we're proposing here. So they were very excited about it.
So we want to be supportive of both Hudson
Hudson
Valley
Valley and the Valley
as well as the Valley Cats.
Yeah.
It means they're matching funds too, Bob, with NISTEC.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that when NISTEC came up with, Mike Walsh, president of NISTEC, came up with the idea is that, we can fund the hardware, the workstations, even to some extent, I think, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but he even mentioned potentially funding some, out of that $100,000, some professors and in making this program work. So we want to give Hudson Valley the opportunity to embrace this without having to struggle with their budgetary constraints as
So
well.
this is seed money, basically.
Right, seed money. Definitely a multi-phase
In
approach
order to try to get the grant from
Yes.
from the
New
state.
York State.
Yep.
kind of a question that's not exactly on target, but, what about the attendance to the Valley Cats game?
Yeah.
How does that coincide with the student population also?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if there's a
The Valley
correlation.
Cats have consistently performed well in
Yeah.
attracting fans. They have a tremendous brand. They're very involved with the community. They're a high-performing organization. So the Valley Cats have done very well.
Right.
But their contract or their lease will be up with Hudson Valley
21.
soon, and they have to make a decision if they're going to opt. They have a 5-year option that they're considering too, but they know the ballpark to maintain professional standards needs some capital investment. And so we are trying to help move that forward with Hudson Valley too. So we're trying to keep professional baseball in the capital region and Rensselaer County specifically.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, if not, we have a resolution authorizing Rensselaer County Industrial Development Agency support for a joint agency, NISTEC, effort to develop an innovation center for emerging technology.
So moved.
Second by Michael, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. On to number 13 on the agenda, resolution authorizing support for the Center of Gravity Advanced Manufacturing and Commercialization Projects.
Center of Gravity, if you recall, I believe last year we supported them. I can't remember what the exact dollar amount was. I think it was same 20,000. That's what I thought. Yeah. And they're continually upgrading their equipment and utilizing, whether it's manufacturing equipment, testing equipment. So they, clearly they've been a partner of ours. They're in the building. I think the overall project cost is just shy of $100,000. So for us putting in this $20,000, again, we're just supporting a bigger project that we believe has been, it's been a fairly successful venture. And you can see it if anybody walks down here during the day or at night. They have quite a few folks in there. It's been an attraction point for businesses.
They did a lot of play in the paper when they have those events a couple times a year.
Yep.
To bring people downtown for, say, Can Code and other things like
Yeah,
that.
Can Code spends a lot of time down there. No, the company that we talked to last month, or I believe it was last month, in the airline industry, was located down there, and we're still working on trying to get them to come up here. But they were a product that ended up in the center of gravity. So we're very happy.
Any other questions, comments? If not, we have a resolution authorizing support for Center of Gravity Advanced Manufacturing and Commercialization Programs.
So moved.
Second by Cynthia, all those in favor? Aye, opposed, none. And number 14, the agenda, resolution authorizing payment to Tri-City Valley Cast for a shared suite for the 2020 season.
Yeah. I don't know if I have to explain this one. We've done this for 20 years.
Same as-
Yeah.
Same dollar value.
Question.
Yeah.
Is the Valley Cats committed to 2020? Is that a done deal? or
They're
is that
committed
still-
they're committed to 20. It's
That's for what?
the whole minor league, major league issue that still has to be resolved.
Any questions, comments? If not, we have a resolution authorizing the payment for 20,000. That's 20,000? Okay, for shared suite for the 2020 season.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carried. And is there any to it, Rob?
We got a second page.
Number 15 on the agenda, resolution authorizing contract for purchase of advertising and promotional opportunities.
We've been doing this for several years where we receive the tickets, the promotion for what we do. Right. And, you know, the 4,000 tickets typically we give out to the youth organizations throughout the season. So,
Questions, comments? If not, we have a resolution authorizing a contract for purchase of advertising and promotional opportunities.
So moved.
Seconded by?
Second.
Ron? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. And number 16 on the agenda, resolution authorizing contract with Hudson Valley Agri-Business Development Corporation.
this is same one. We've done this every 3 years. You know, the organization works closely with our agricultural economic developer, Donna Murray, in helping identify grants for our farms. One particular project that he's working on right now for us is a project that I thought was going to be here in front of us tonight, but I don't believe the attorneys filled out the paperwork to get to our attorney. A company is moving in from Manans to South Troy, and it's in the agricultural side of the world. So he's putting a project together to put in front of the Regional Economic Development Council for us to help support that project, hoping to get some state monies for it. So we'll know more about that project next month. She can't get to you.
No.
Well, we did this for last year, right?
3 years. It's a 3-year contract.
3 years?
So 3 years ago we did this, so this isn't.
So we did the same monetary amount?
Yep.
75,000?
Yep.
25,000
a year.
a year.
For 25 a year.
5,000 a year.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay, if not, we have a resolution authorizing contract with Hudson Valley Agribusiness Development Corporation. Ron, or Michael, second by
Second.
Cynthia, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Number 17 on the agenda, resolution authorizing agency partnership with Empire State Development.
This is Empire State Development, along with CEG, is hosting an event at the gaming software conference in San Francisco, I believe, in a couple of weeks. Very similar to the initiatives that ESD had done with the semiconductor. We know that the gaming software hub is really in Troy and in Rensselaer County. We've worked very close with the companies that are located here. They will all be in attendance at this event. So ESD reached out to us along with CEG, and I believe it's what, $3,000, but there's like 4 or 5 organizations. I think the total cost is 15. Again, we're partnering with a bunch of other organizations to host an event while this conference is going on.
Are any of the ones that located in Troy, Bob, like First Playable or
Toby's probably going to be there.
Balin with Karthik and Gua?
Both Karthik and Guha, and I believe Toby, my last conversation with Toby, she was attending it. RPI's the head of the gaming department, software gaming, what's his name?
Curriculum.
Curriculum. I can't remember his name. He's going to be there. Karthik had invited us to it's a chief executive's dinner on one of the nights for us to go to. So we'll be, and kind of games are like, GA, CG, all the big names in the industry where they have thousands of employees. And our goal is to try to get them to do some of their development here.
And there'll be a booth, sharing the booth with?
Yeah, we'll share the booth
CG.
with the group, right.
Any other questions, comments? If not, we have a resolution authorizing agency partnerships in the amount of $3,000 with the Empire State Development.
So moved.
Second by
Second.
Ron, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Is there any other business that to come before the board?
I guess we could just inform the board members, we finally closed on the South Troy land. Peter worked very hard to get that done, a lot of back and forth. Money did hit our account, and we're close to being out of the real estate business in South Troy.
So I stop getting letters down?
Yes.
2 parcels left.
We got
Yes,
4 acres left roughly,
roughly. I think
below the jail?
yeah, the L shape around the jail. Yep.
420.
Whatever, yeah. But I'm very happy, and that's what Steve was referring to. It's a company that's going to be expanding and adding jobs, and we're waiting for the formal announcement, or at least the formal quotes from the company.
Is that the end of the land that we have the title to?
No, that's what we said. We have a very small piece that's south of the jail that we actually are working on selling that as well right now.
Okay.
So very shortly, we will have 3 announcements of significant jobs in South Troy.
We also should have gotten $48,000 for the land from the city.
7.
47? Yeah, does that happen?
47,
Okay, so
Just for the meeting, I went to thing.
done, perfect. Yes, so
So one more, Ching.
The road parcel.
the easement for the city, Steve signed off on.
Is there any other business that has to be brought before the board?
Call for
I'm
adjournment.
gonna get fired.
Yeah.
Your second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.